Well, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I think Battlefield 2042 should be delayed again. And I know that will be the scraping sound of nails on a chalkboard for some, but honestly, it needs it. And it needs it badly if this beta is anything to judge this game by. I played for 6 hours yesterday, and honestly after 6 hours, I think I saw all I needed to understand this game is unfinished and not even close to being ready. And in this video, I will be explaining why I dislike the game currently and what's wrong with it in my opinion. Before getting into this mess, remember to sub if you haven't already, like, dislike, and comment with what your thoughts on Battlefield 2042 are. The first thing that I noticed is that it doesn't have any real identity. It looks like a Battlefield game, but it doesn't really stand out as a Battlefield game. Other than taking the tornado from Sharknado but they replaced the sharks with soldiers and tanks, it doesn't really have any standout features. Other than charging you £50 for the standard edition that doesn't even give you early access for pre-ordering it, that's an extra £30. It just looks very generic. The art style and the graphics are just multiplayer shooter, but with no real flair to make it stand out as 2042, which is partly why I think they decided to add a huge fucking tornado to look at instead. The coloration of everything is just boring. If it's green like trees or grass, it's a specific green, barely any variation of anything that's coloured green. If it's the sky, it's a specific blue with some clouds. If it's a door or a floor, it's all specific coloration for those as well. Like, where is the colour palette in the map that we're supposed to be testing? Where's the contrast of the colours that make the game pop? It's all lazy and lifeless to look at as a game. If you look at even Battlefield 5, the maps were very vibrant and looked alive even if the game itself was a buggy mess. In this, it's like they did paint by numbers and only allowed for about 10 colours for the whole game. It's tried to be bright and colourful, but in doing so, it just looks boring, as there's no contrast between any of it, as it's all the same colours and brightness, with the awful Battlefield blue tint over the top. Moving on to the second thing I have issue with, and that is what I said looks shit from the start. Operators. I've said it for months, since it was revealed, the operators suck, and could even be overpowered if made incorrectly or balanced badly. So far, they aren't overpowered, but they are, however, very boring, and they remove pretty much all customization in conjunction with the new weapon customization, but I will come to that later. Sorry, no, not all customization, they've just geared it towards trying to sell you skins so there aren't 30 identical Boris operators running around. You know what would have been a much cooler idea? Make these gadgets available on loadouts, you know, like all other Battlefield games did, and then allow us to have really in-depth soldier customization options. Every soldier could have been unique. Every soldier could have been customized to you. They could even sell you cosmetics to make it a truly personal experience, but no, they went down with the greed option of a set amount of operators who in the future will most likely be locked within a battle pass for you to buy or grind a lot. And with that, they also want to sell you skins for those operators, even though it's going to be the same few operators that will be chosen by 128 people. Well, if you actually get a full server, otherwise it's bots. I won't even talk about the bots in depth though, as I just think they're stupid and pointless, it's not even worth mentioning. I just think the game mode should have been made smaller and scrap the bots. Following on from the operators, once you load in, you then need to customize your gun. You would assume the game would remember your loadout per operator, wouldn't you? Well, aren't you an absolute moron? Because of course not. You have to customize your gun every single match for no reason. It makes no sense and is very annoying. Every match you have to stand there, in-game like a lemon, because loadouts don't really exist anymore beyond the actual weapon choices on operators. It doesn't allow you to specify attachments in the loadouts. You have to set up your attachments every single time you use a gun for the first time in a match. After a few games, it just gets annoying, and I don't know how they thought this was a good way of implementing it. Looking into gun choice itself, however, and it starts to look a bit dire. I got to level 11 in 6 hours and I unlocked a grand total of 2 guns. While this is just a beta, I don't understand how there are so few weapons. I unlocked 1 extra SMG and 1 extra assault rifle. I did ask around, but no one seems to have unlocked anything more than this yet, or any extra gadgets or grenades. It doesn't really look good for the game when the beta can't even afford to show off a good amount of the weaponry, if it's even made yet. Talking quickly about vehicles, it feels like Battlefield 4 in a way, but not in the ooh nostalgia way, more in the For fuck's sake, there's another helicopter again. I just killed 2 of those. Like seriously, why are the vehicle spawns so high? The amount of helicopters in the 6 hours that I played was insane. It just reminded me why custom Battlefield 4 servers sucked. You spend half your time alive trying to kill these annoying vehicles that heal very quickly if they are out of combat for a while. Yep, that's right, who needs engineers or repairs anymore at base when you can just fly low for a while and heal for absolutely no cost at all back up to full HP. The little birds can easily tank 2 hits from AA, and that's if they don't use flares. The Apache style one that I never actually read the name of can tank quite a few as well. And the Osprey? Don't even waste your time. It's basically a flying tank, and if it goes to heal, you might as well just shoot yourself instead and save some time. Tanks are also strong and quite quick as well. You can deal with them as infantry, but it's hard. It's much easier just to have your 3 helicopters just missile the shit out of them. And again, with tanks, they can just move away for a bit and fully heal at no cost. Side note, I know that the Robo-Dog isn't a vehicle, but I do just want to bring something up that makes no sense to me. Why is it so stupid? If you're downed, it just seems to stop firing back or doing anything. Watch this clip. Why is the Robo-Dog just stood doing nothing, meanwhile someone walks up to it with a pistol and just shoots its face in? If it shut down or broke when I get downed, I'd be fine with it. But why is it so stupid when it clearly still works? I just don't get it. Another odd choice for this Battlefield game is why they made the sector gain and loss so intrusive both on the screen and also in the audio. It's really annoying to have a blue or orange bar constantly pop up every few seconds just to tell you that someone took a point. Just make it like every other Battlefield, nice and clean in the bottom left. Show me the flag progress down there and don't take up the top of my screen with some huge text for no reason. It's another pointless and intrusive design choice, and the audio that goes with it is equally as annoying. Looking now to the frustrating and yet somehow funny part of the beta, the bugs. Holy hell, there are a lot of bugs in this game. Doors don't work. Elevators don't work properly. Corpses are weird. Sometimes they will even bounce around and then vanish. Grappling sometimes bugs out and you'll bounce off ledges and die. Sometimes grappling will also make you grapple through walls, or will teleport you to another spot once you've finished your grapple. When enemies grapple near you, sometimes they will just teleport towards you. Sometimes people in tanks will just float in the air when the tank moves. Trying to assassinate someone, but I just punched them in the back of the head instead, despite long holding melee attack. Third-person assassinations that just stare off in the distance for no reason. Some other bugs I didn't manage to get a recording of was enemies appearing out of thin air when they come out of elevators. The first-person tank gun camera clips on the side of the turret, so it's impossible to drive or aim. Calling in a transport truck that put my cooldown on but didn't deliver the truck. And all of this is from one map, and barely even 6 hours of playing, and that includes going for drinks and snacks, and also the map changes in the game. I'm not looking forward to seeing how many more issues crop up in the final game build, with 7 maps and more operators. Maybe it will take the crown from Battlefield 5 for most buggy game on launch. But when it boils down to it, 2042 looks and plays pretty beige. It doesn't know what it wants to be, and it really does show. It's fun for a little while, but then you start to realise that they actually could have made it much more interesting, but went down the hero shooter route just to force you to use the battle pass to get more operators and then buy their fancy skins. On top of that, I would almost guarantee weird skins and other stupid additions will creep in, that will cost more over time as they get more and more stupid in design, just as the Battlefield 5 ones did, but now without the historical constraints of being World War II. Honestly, I wasn't that interested in the game from the announcement and gameplay trailers, and I'm glad. Because right now, if I had been hyped, I would feel pretty let down, as it looks like another potential Battlefield 5 launch. Halo 4 and 5 were dire, and undoubtedly the worst Halo games, but Halo Infinite might actually turn out to be shooter of the year the rate this is going between Battlefield and COD Vanguard. Which is pretty funny, as it's also the free shooter versus Battlefield and Call of Duty. So in summary, Battlefield 2042 looks bland and doesn't really have an identity. It has no idea what it wants to be due to the mashup of the Conquest mode and operators topped off with an idiotic loadout system that doesn't even remember your previous choices. The game has no original identity past Battlefield 4 meets Sharknado, but with soldiers and tanks instead. And this is so far the least impactful game in the entire franchise, as it's just beige tornado. There's virtually no customization for your soldier besides bending over for daddy dice and letting them raid your puckered purse for skins or new operators in the battle pass. Seems like guns are far and few between in unlocks, though if anybody got more unlocks past the 2 that I got, let me know. I honestly just ran out of effort to put in to find out. Helicopter spam as well as their HP. Like, just why? Make them and tanks a squad-based reward or something. Anything but the repeated spam spawning that it currently is. It was one of the worst things about Battlefield 4, and in this they seem to be quite tanky as well for no real reason. As well as stop taking up my screen with the bar to tell me that someone took a sector. I have eyes. I can see that it was taken, thanks. And last but not least, the huge array of bugs that I found in such a short space of time. There will be those that scream beta over and over to me, but this is releasing for early access users in about 5 weeks. All the issues that I've talked about are pretty much in the final version. A lot of these bugs, and probably more, will make it to release. Most betas from devs like this these days are just for marketing to drive pre-order sales, hence why you have early access for people who pre-ordered, to make people want to pre-order. But yeah, that's pretty much 2042 in a nutshell, and personally, I really hope they delay it to at least February. Otherwise, this will probably launch as a hot pile of garbage like Battlefield 5 did, and get the same reception that Battlefield 5 did, and go on sale after about a month. I don't actually want that, despite me not liking how 2042 looks right now. I'd much rather have a fun game to play when it's finished, so I'd rather they actually do a good job, rather than rush and fuck it up. Though I don't know how they can fix operators being bland, it was pretty much a nail in the coffin from day one. Who knows? But I hope they do actually make a good game, but it looks doubtful currently in my opinion. Will I be buying it, you might ask? Definitely fucking not. I was already doubtful after Battlefield 5, which if you bought that on launch, you would be as well. I won't be getting this at all unless they pull out some big changes. With that said, if you want to join my Discord or follow me on Twitch, all my links will be in the description and the pinned comment. Again, let me know what you think of 2042 so far in the comments, and with that, I will see you for the next video. That's why I was saying to you, like, it's going everywhere.
It is just jittery mess. Wait, what? Did the server die?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. We're ready for launch, boys. Dun 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 dun. Da 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 da.